Yo, welcome back to another episode of the Human Earth Planet with your host, Table Mannerz. I got something really cool for you today. It is the full deconstruction and fix of the Maschine MK3 by Native Instruments. So I ordered a decal. After I put the decal on, I noticed that some of my pads weren't working, and I thought maybe I was a little sloppy with sticking the sticker on. I thought maybe the pads were just not responding because the sticker was jammed in there kind of funny. Could have been a couple of things. I actually ended up taking the decal back off. Honestly, I'm not quite sure what it's from. I just know that after I was done cleaning my machine, a few of my pads were unresponsive to light hits as well as aggressively hard hits. The machine itself, it's been through a lot. I got it when it first came out and I use it every day, so it could just be wear and tear. Sometimes I do clean the pads with Lysol to get the germs off. It's possible that had something to do with it. My machine has been dropped as well as slammed by that very camera, tipping over like a hammer. It's been through a lot and it still works until now. So you'll need a Phillips head screwdriver, definitely, or just like a really strong teeth. You'll need 99% isopropyl alcohol. You're gonna wanna pick up a can of deoxit 5. It chemically improves metal to metal connections and contacts. This gets rid of like corrosion and stuff, so if something's not communicating, this helps a lot. You're gonna wanna have some Q-tips handy for some of the cleaning. I did do probably an unnecessary easy reflow of the board. For this, you're gonna want a heat gun at the very, very lowest setting. Let's take a look here at the video. All right, so this is the Maschine MK3. And here's what it looks like with everything apart. A little overwhelming. The pads are surprisingly thick, check it out. Let's figure out how to go from that dirtiness to that clean. I went to npcstuff.com and got a actually new sensor sheet. We're gonna look into this, but this is the problem. This is what I found. And that is what it looked like after I was finished using the deoxit D5. All right, here we go. Pads are not working. I'm slamming them. You guys can see I'm slamming the pads. Light or hard, doesn't matter. That guy is not wanting to work. So, this is the issue. Nothing's coming through. Let's take it apart. So, we're gonna start with the back. This is your warranty. You scratch that off, you can no longer send it into Native Instruments for repair. I'm gonna take it off. So we're using the Phillips head to unscrew. I keep things organized with Tupperware containers, making sure all of the screws go in the right spots. After you're done unscrewing the back plate, you're gonna wanna grab the rubber. You're gonna grab the rubber. It's gonna help you wiggle it loose. It's really hard to get off, so stay persistent. We're gonna come back to this one later, but you're gonna wanna unhook all the ribbon cables. I found that a pair of needle nose pliers helped. My fingers are big. You don't necessarily need these, but it made a big difference in removing them and putting them back. Just as a side with those ribbons, you wanna pop them up. There's these two little plastic guys on the side that you just, honestly, they're stuck sometimes, but you wanna lift them up and the ribbon slides out. Doesn't need to be forced too hard, so if you're forcing it in a certain direction, stop. You don't want to break those. So needle nose pliers adds that little finesse that you want with being gentle. And when you're closing them too, when you slide the ribbon in, pushing from the top down on them is what closes them, but you're gonna notice you're gonna have to kind of equal pressure on both sides, or like the shimmy process. Okay, so we're gonna take off what's called the rhino. I don't know why it's called the rhino, but it's that plastic guy, the plastic dealie. It's that plastic dealie. So we're gonna take that off first. Maybe just like absorbs the pad impact. I don't know what it's for. I'm an amateur. So it's gone. So the piece we're gonna need to get to is actually underneath this part of the board. This is gonna be where your pads are as well as the group pads. I used the screwdriver just to help me get underneath a little bit. It's gonna feel firm in there, and that is because it's actually plugged in to the sensor, the finger sensor, to change the sound a bit. It's plugged into that kind of like a game cartridge. We took a look at the, I guess that would be the sensor board. That's where your pads hit. And we took a look at that, a close-up earlier. You could see how corroded the 4 in the middle especially were. And like I said, it could be from a number of things over time. Dirt gets in there. Like I said, I use Lysol sometimes to just like sanitize. I'm not going to anymore. I'm just gonna make sure I'm easy with the dusting every day. I don't know, but it could have been that, who knows? It chose this time to just stop working. So let's carefully take out the sensor sheet. Yeah, look at that, it's nasty. We can clean it. So I'm actually gonna let that sit in isopropyl, 99% isopropyl alcohol. And we're gonna remove the pads, which were surprisingly heavy and thick. Just be careful when you're popping these out, you don't wanna rip it. There they are. Gross. Okay, taking out the casings that hold the buttons in place. Same thing when you take these out, just be careful. They feel a little fragile in the hands. But we're gonna put this all in a Ziploc bag and let it sit in 99% isopropyl and shake off whatever gunk and seediness is on these things. Just keep everything organized because you're gonna have to put it back. Done and done. Popping them all out. Okay, let's get these in a bag. So here I started the process of scrubbing with 99% isopropyl first before I do the deoxit. And I'm gonna let that dry as I take off the next board. So this one is responsible for the top buttons. We're not going to get into the display, we don't need to, but to take this out, you're actually going to need to pop off the pots and push the power button in to slide it out. There's a little plastic casing that goes around the USB port. Just don't lose that. And it's going to need to be popped back on before it goes back in. So there's that. But it is also connected by a dang ribbon cable. Damn. You're going to need to pop those. See, they go straight up in orientation. Doesn't take a lot of force, so don't be too aggressive. Okay, we can pull this back. While we're finishing the Maschine MK3 top buttons, we're gonna let these soak. We're gonna let them soak in the isopropyl. All of the weird dust particles must leave. All right, taking off this casing. That would be for all your navigation controls. This didn't come out, and the reason why is because you actually need to take off the navigation wheel first. Keep those organized so you know where they're going. This guy slides right out, easy. Okay, and now this should come out. Little L-shaped navigation controls. Yes. We didn't necessarily need to go this deep for the issue. Another ribbon cable. Let's take that off too. So this is, this didn't need to come out, but I figure since we're cleaning everything, might as well get those buttons out and clean them too. Smooth. Pop those in the bag. Shake it on up. So we don't need to remove the last bit at this point because I didn't have a problem with my display, and thankfully so, because I'm assuming that would be a big pain in the butt. I have to preface by saying in this video I do take this apart 3 times. And the reason being, I had a different problem each time I put it back together. We're gonna explore those problems and find out why. In this moment, my only goal is to clean, identify what looked off, we did, and now we're gonna replace the sensor sheet, the old sensor sheet, the stock sensor sheet from Native Instruments that originally came in the Maschine MK3, and we're gonna replace it from a sensor sheet from mpcstuff.com, which you can go to. I'm not getting any promotions to say it. There's a great site to go, especially if you're into modding your equipment. Oh, nice and clean. Look at those clean pads. We're gonna put it all back. When we get back to that sensor sheet, just make sure it goes in with it's like a perforated edge. That has to go in a certain spot, and you're gonna see where. Also, you guys are gonna notice me putting this back together, I made a mistake instantly. There's a piece, this piece, I don't know where it goes. I'm not sure where it goes. I can't even remember when I took it out. But it should be going in like right away here, and I forget it. My intention was to show like literally every step that I took. I'll make a condensed version of this that is just like a straight take apart, put back together, but I thought it'd be cool for you guys to see the mistakes I made as well. Made a bunch. So yeah, this goes back in after you connect the ribbon. But right here, I'm noticing that my screws aren't actually catching. I'm trying to look for the issue. Why aren't the screws catching? I can't really figure it out. It's really frustrating. It's actually not that piece. It's the piece I mentioned earlier, the long one that's kind of got the weird shapes to it. But I figure, you know what? This is good enough, and let's put it back together. Things are still not catching. I don't know what's going on. We gotta take it back apart. Of course, I only take it apart after I put this back on. Like an idiot. See, I'm thinking, okay, here comes the ribbon. Ribbon's back in. Making some headway here. Make sure that pushes back down. You can see how I use the needle nose pliers to get it in there. So frustrating. Here's the cap. It just slides in nice and easy. All right. This is where I'm starting to realize I noticed something is wrong, because there's a piece to the left of the screen, and you can see it, it's long. That should have already been installed. So I've already gone way too far. Turn back. Don't do it. It's just gonna cost you another hour. Don't go there. So I actually get this whole thing back together before I realized that sucked. Here we go. This is the realization moment. This is the slap in the face moment. So I gotta just remove this one part. I know exactly where this is going. I don't have to remove any of the other ribbon cables because I can just fold it over. There it is. That stupid piece. My goodness. At least all the screws are gonna feel good again, you know? Putting the rubber pieces back in. Make sure that you don't put them in upside down, because then it's just going to be upside down. Well, unless that's what you like. It's all clean. It's put back. I'm feeling good right now. Also, just keep an eye on that little blue piece in the middle. You can see the ribbon is just flipped up. We're going to come back to that later. That was just me not paying attention. The new sensor sheet slips right in. This has not been deoxed. Careful when you're putting that back in. Remember, it's like a cartridge. And then applying all of the ribbon cables back to their original locations. Again, that blue guy right there, he's not connected. And I completely forgot about him. That blue ribbon cable. In retrospect, I should have maybe only put a few screws back in, but I thought I was done. I thought, this is it, guys. Here we go. Fixed. But also not fixed. Top goes back in like so. So we got the new sensor sheet from npcstuff.com installed. Everything is clean to my knowledge, just not de-corroded. Turning it on and look, even worse. Nothing responds to a light touch, and I have to do very, very hard aggressive hits at all to get anything to register through. And even then, I can't. It's actually unplayable. Worse than before. Let's take it back apart. I still don't notice that one cable is not connected, but that's going to cause us an issue later. That ground one, just when you're putting it all back together, make sure your ground is actually connected. You don't have to do this in any order. You can just take all the screws off. Just make sure they're all in one spot. There's no wrong way to do that. Just gentle as you pull up. Just not sure why it's not working. So here's the deoxit. This actually made a huge difference. I was a little liberal with this. Maybe too much so, but look at this clean. You can see it fizz and bubble. It's really, really doing work. I just made sure to get it right into the grooves with the Q-tips. Spent a lot of time there. You can already see a big difference, actually. There we go. Big difference. This is where I applied my reflow. You just have to be really careful with this. This can wreck everything. This can destroy it completely. You don't want to do that. I just made sure it was, you know, lowest setting on your heat gun. Don't go crazy. Everything is put back, except for you know what, that ribbon cable. Okay, it's on. Screws go back on. I shouldn't have done all the screws, but you know, I thought I was done again. So let's test it out. Okay, you're gonna notice all pads work. So whatever happened with the deoxit, good. The only thing is my velocity pads are just not responding. So I have to have fixed velocity on, and what the hell is that? I can't edit a sample, and on my mixing board, everything is jumping around. I can't even adjust the volumes of anything. So let's take it apart again. So immediately what I'm thinking is that I want to throw my machine at the floor. I'm thinking right now that I didn't plug something back, because clearly the pots responsible for the volumes or any of the settings aren't responding at all. And I'm thinking that's a communication issue. So I'm immediately thinking it's actually that something is loose, when I discovered and didn't capture it on camera. So I'd like to show it. The cable is now reconnected. So it's speaking again to the main motherboard. While I'm doing this, however, I want to experiment a little bit with maybe cleaning the old sensor sheet, because I'm frustrated that my velocity parameters are not responding. So, you know, when you hit the pad really hard, it's a louder sound. When you hit it soft, it's a softer sound. I use this all the time. It's a function that I don't really want to not have, although at current, everything works with fixed velocity on. What I decided to do is clean the sensor sheet, the old stock sensor sheet, and reinstall it just to see what would happen. So we're gonna take off the Rhino. We're gonna do everything like we did before. These stupid ribbon cables. Okay, here we go. I'm going to replace the npcstuff.com and clean the old one with 99% isopropyl. Gonna give it a good scrub, let it dry, and now I'm reinstalling the stock sensor sheet. Okay. Here we go. Everything is definitely put back. Everything is cleaned. Everything is nice and tight. I mean that metaphorically. Don't tighten your screws too much. Just nice and firm. So everything's nice and firm, I guess. All right. Ribbon cable back in. Bada bing, bada boom. Back on. Pots are going back on. These just pull off, don't be afraid. Okay, I feel like this has got to be the last time, so let's give it a good clean. Using a nice soft, meant for screens cloth. Okay, and here you have it. All my values are working on all the pots. As you can see, the velocity pads are responding. So whatever was going on is now fixed. Here's a close-up. You can see the harder I hit, the larger the value. Nice, there we go. Everything's working, everything feels smooth when I finger drum. I'm happy. This is playable. I can sample again, and of course there's my master. None of the values are twitching out. So there it is, the Maschine MK3 teardown, fix, / repair, / fiddle, whatever it is. I'm happy that my equipment works again and I'm able to use it. So if anything weird is happening to you with your pads, regardless of the cause, I hope this video helps you with, if you want to decide to take things into your own hands and take a look, you have a little bit of a guide to help follow. And if not, send it into Native Instruments. Just remember, when you take that warranty sticker off, it's yours. It's yours forever. So thanks for watching another edition of the Human Earth Planet. I got more content coming out. Follow me on Twitch, TableManners01, for live production content and some other things coming down the way. Have a great day and see you again soon. This was the Maschine MK3 repair.